Hey, it's Mike, your host of Craft Beer Storm. Hopefully your day is going well. It's Friday, and that means it's Craft Brew News Day. We bring you the news of the week in the drama of craft beer land. Lots of stuff going on, but it's all great stuff. Great stuff, interesting. So this news is brought to you by courtesy of brewbound.com. Great source of information. News, all kinds of stuff. First story up. German brewer Gilde reveals U.S. expansion plans. And the German brewer plans to operate a large manufacturing brewery in Charlotte. The German brewer Gilde has an ambitious plan to build one of the largest individual craft brewing facilities in the United States. According to the Charlotte Observer, the company is looking into the possibility of eventually brewing upwards of 500,000 barrels annually in North Carolina. That's a lot of beer. However, the timetable for beginning of that project is nearly 3 years away. So it's targeting Charlotte. A lot of stuff happening in North Carolina. In the meantime, Gilde CEO Karsten Uhlmann told the outlet that his company would begin by importing beer into the U.S. via Anheuser-Busch wholesaler Adams Beverages this month. The Hanover-headquartered beer company, which produced 850,000 barrels of beer last year, then plans to open a 5,000 square foot small batch brewery called the Embassy before the end of 2019. And 2 or 3 years later, Uhlmann added the company plans to open a 100,000 square foot facility capable of being scaled to 500,000 barrels that will feature a taproom, beer garden, and kitchen. Very ambitious plans here. But I guess they're starting by importing the beer in, getting it out there, seeing what happens, then they're taking steps. And it's not just like, okay, we're going to open this huge brewing facility. We're gonna take steps and see what happens. But that's fantastic if that happens for Charlotte. It's a lot of beer, man. Second story, Pennsylvania lawmakers lower brewery sales tax. Hallelujah. Here we go with a state. Pennsylvania lawmakers and Governor Tom Wolf on Friday approved legislation HB 262 to lower an impending sales tax on beer sold in tap rooms, tasting rooms, and brew pubs. In a press release, the Brewers of Pennsylvania announced that after 18 months of negotiations with legislators and the governor's office, an agreement had been reached. The Pennsylvania Department of Revenue was slated to begin collecting a 6% sales tax for every dollar of beer sold directly to consumers at brewery locations starting July 1. And that tax would have been on top of an existing for $2.48 per barrel state excise tax that Pennsylvania beer companies already pay. That's a lot of money. A lot of tax. However, the bill amends to the tax code to allow breweries to pay 6% sales tax on 25% of the retail sale of a pint. According to the Brewers of Pennsylvania, that formula is in line with wholesale price paid for beer by restaurants, bars, and grocery stores. So you're only paying for a quarter of it, which is positive. All right, it's something. Yeah, taxes are a good way for states to make money, but we have to look at it, see if it's an unfair, tax on a particular entity. So the Brewer Association of Pennsylvania, good job. Third story, Canopy Growth Corporation terminates co-founder and co-CEO Bruce Linton. So Canopy is a Canadian company involved in cannabis. So Canopy Growth Corporation and their ticker on the Toronto Stock Exchange is WEED today. Announced that co-CEO Bruce Linton has stepped down as chief executive and board member. However, Linton, who co-founded the company in 2013, called into CNBC to clarify that he was fired from the world's largest cannabis company. I think stepping down might not be the right phrase. He said, "I was terminated." And Mark Zakulin, who had been co-CEO with Linton, will take over as the sole CEO while Canopy works to identify a replacement. And last August, Constellation Brands upped its investment in the company, spending $4 billion would it be to acquire 104.5 million shares of Canopy, raising its stake to about 38%. That's a lot of money, and you're only 38%. So, but they have a lot of influence on the company, as you can see. In April, it struck a deal with Acreage Holdings, agreeing to acquire the New York-based cannabis company for $3.4 billion when marijuana becomes federally legal in the U.S. Linton had a knack for deal making and helped lead a company that was growing revenue at a healthy clip. But Canopy last month recorded a low gross margin of 16% during the fourth quarter of fiscal 2019, an EBITDA loss of $98 million. So those combination of those, 16% is not a good margin. That's your revenue minus your cost of goods sold. 16% is really low. You got to produce a load of product in order to justify that. And then they also had a loss. And meanwhile, during Constellation Brands' first quarter earnings call, CEO Bill Newlands said the company was not pleased with Canopy's recent financial results, so they took action. And there you go, Linton's out. But he co-founded the company, which is, if you give control over your company away to a larger corporation, you run the risk of what happened to Linton, and there you go. And now he's out. So what are you going to do? Bell's is our last story. Offers employees assistance in obtaining GEDs. So positive stuff out of Bell's. Bell's Brewery is making an effort to help employees without high school diplomas to pass the GED, the General Educational Development Test. The Michigan Craft Brewery is offering employees access to free tests, online study tools, and a personal advisor through the GED Works program. Bell's Human Sources Services Manager, Elmi Schuling, said in a press release, when we discovered a talent pool that was rich in passion and dedication, but it didn't meet the hiring requirements for some of our roles, we knew we needed to help fill that gap. And GED Works has been nothing short but amazing. And Bell employs more than 550 workers across 41 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico. So good on Bell's helping their employees out, which you should have at least a GED to function. And I mean, you should have that. So I'm glad that the company stepped up and is helping their employees. Fantastic. I hope other companies look at this as an example and do the same. And that is your craft brew news for today. If you like what we're doing, you like our podcast, go on to iTunes, give us a rating and review. It takes 2 seconds. Click on some stars, give us a rating. That's the only way we get up in the rankings. Send me an email for what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear more of. If you can connect me with somebody in the industry, mover and shaker, we do 360. It doesn't necessarily have to be a brewer. It could be anybody in the craft beer industry. We do restaurants, we do brewers, we do marketers, we do everything. People have apps, buy a beer for somebody across the world, stuff like that. So we do that, and we get it out there for you to educate you on craft beer and get you into your local breweries and sample some great beer. And that's what we have for you today. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Take care.